Hey everyone, today I'm going to be sharing with you what I believe is the best way to learn how to code in 2023. Now, the first question that we need to answer when asking how to learn how to code is what language should we even choose? There are a lot of different programming languages out there. Some very popular ones you may have already heard of, stuff like C++ or Java, or this newer language that is getting a lot of traction called Rust. However, a lot of these older languages like Java and C++ have a lot of, let's call it jank, that is not very conducive to learning when we first start out. And Rust is still relatively new, so it's yet to be fully accepted and tried and true as of today. So, what language then should we pick if we want something that is both easy to learn and has stood the test of time? Well, I believe that language should be Python. Now, why would we pick Python over any other language? Like I've said, it is very easy to learn and to understand. A lot of people joke about it being baby's first programming language for a reason, because it is written in a way that is super simple and allows the programmer to ignore a lot of weird mechanics that older languages would bring to the forefront. Stuff like memory management, right? If we're just learning how to code, we need to learn the basics before we can start worrying about other strange things like memory management. While being simple, it still teaches us all of the basic programming concepts that we need. And what's really useful is that all these programming concepts are transferable. So if we ever decide down the road that we want to learn another language, we can do that and not lose any of the knowledge that we have gained from learning Python. Python's also very popular right now in a lot of hot fields, um, especially with AI being incredibly popular these days. Uh, a lot of these AI tools that you may have heard of, like TensorFlow, were developed for Python. And so you can write code that creates a neural network, an AI system, with TensorFlow in Python. Python's also used a lot in robotics because it's, again, very simple and you don't need to worry about a lot of crazy jank. You can just focus on what is my robot doing at this time. And Python is also used a lot in data science. So if you want to get a job analyzing data for a large company, Python is used a lot for that. Because it is used in a lot of these hot fields right now and it's very popular, there's a high job demand for Python developers. And so that makes it very attractive for any developer to learn, but especially the new developer who is just wanting to learn how to code without learning some strange language that will be completely useless once they've outgrown it. So, where can we start coding in Python? There's a special website called Google Colab out there. Google Colab is essentially a hosting service that Google runs where you can get a free account. I think it already comes with your Google account. So you just sign in and you can write and run code in the cloud. This is really useful because it means we can have everything stay in the web browser. Nothing ever has to touch your hardware. So even if you're writing code on a 15-year-old terrible slow machine, your code is not going to be slow because everything's running on Google's servers. This also means that we have a very safe learning environment to learn how to program. We don't need to install any software on our laptop. We don't need to run any software that we write on it and have the possibility of breaking things, right? Everything is safe and contained, and that's a very useful thing when you're starting out. So, with that being said, let's hop on over and take a look at Google Colab. Alright, so once you've come on over to colab.research.google.com, this is the screen that you are going to see. Um, these are different Colab notebooks that you can open, but we don't really care about that right now. If you look at Google Drive, you can see all of the notebooks currently in your drive. I have nothing because everything's on my school account, but that's okay. And they also have a bunch of different example notebooks for you to look at for uh, different topics. Like it looks like they have something on pandas, which is important for Python. Um, yeah, right now we're going to click New Notebook, and it's going to take a second and create for us a nice empty Colab notebook. So what we have right here in the middle is our notebook, and just like everything else in the Google Suite, you can come up here and see your file name. Let's just name this First Notebook. Alright. And so right here, we can notice the first cool thing about Google Colab notebooks. You can have both text and code in one file. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a text cell, double click to enter it, and then we can type whatever we want. So let's go ahead and say my first Colab notebook. Alright. And then it'll show your raw text over here and the formatted text over here. And once we click off of that, it'll only show the formatted text. So there we go. You can write text in your Colab notebook. But what we're really here to do is write some code. So let's go ahead and do the classic beginner's example for writing code, hello world. So for Python, we're just going to use the print command to say, hey, I want to print out a statement. And then we're going to give it what we want to print out in quotations to tell it this is a string of text. And then we're going to say hello world. And once we've written our code here in Google Colab, you can either click the little run button on the left, or you can press Control Enter like it says. So let's do that. It's going to take a minute to connect to a Google server, and then here we go. Here is our code output. And we can just do this again and again. Now that we've connected to a server, we have all of this, all these resources. I mean, come on, 12 gigs of RAM and a whole bunch of storage, all for us to play around with. That's just awesome. And because we're already connected, it just automatically runs. We don't need to wait for it to connect again. Well, in conclusion, I think this is the best way to learn how to code in 2023. I hope you enjoyed. I guess I'll do the YouTube thing now and say to like and subscribe and whatever. Happy coding.